You know, one of the things that I think all of us have learned over the course of the last 2 weeks as we continue to deal with the uncertainty about this coronavirus outbreak, even though some of the panic is starting to die down, is that this world is a much smaller place than we think it is. I mean, you are quite literally at this point, as I think more of us understand not only the gravity of this situation, but the likely origins of this problem. You're quite literally talking about something that originated from stupidity and poor decision making thousands of miles away in a place that most of us have never been and never will go. That wound up, whether it was done on purpose or not, affecting the entire planet, affecting all of our lives and putting all of our lives and families at risk. Now, I'm going to take this time in this video to just reflect on some things that I have stated both directly and indirectly in past videos, and that, I think we should all really be aware of. Particularly you black men that discuss getting your passport. you know, wait. Sorry guys, that was dry cough. I had to pause the video. When I laugh nowadays, because, my chest constrictions, y'all have heard me cough before, so no, I don't have symptoms of fucking coronavirus. Y'all have heard me cough in several of my videos over the months, but I just could, get your passport. Seriously, that is so fucking funny right now. I can't even laugh straight. It's so fucking funny. Okay? Because a lot of black men that say that, for starters, are talking about getting your passport for the sole purpose of going somewhere to get some pussy. And I recall, some of you brothers may have recalled with me, on several occasions where I said that if you think you're going to go into a lot of these third world ass backwards countries, okay? Now, I'm just keeping it real. If I can keep it real about black women, I can keep it real about this shit. If you think you can go into some of these ass backwards ass third world countries, some of them, have communist police states regimes like China or Brazil, and everything's going to come out sunny side up just because the females there view you as an American man as a pot of gold, you got another thing fucking coming. That's just for starters, okay? I also recall, and many of you brothers may recall, that I warned you Negroes. I told y'all, what did I say? On several occasions. You can't deny it. Don't make me go pull up the videos. I warned y'all that whole black man, Asian female thing, community trend about black men that have, a lot of them, been scorned by white women just like black women. So they figure, oh, well, I'm going to go find an Asian woman. I warned y'all of two things. One, I warned you, you have to understand female nature. And if you understand female nature, you understand that being with no female is, right off the bat, a sure thing, safe, a guarantee that you are not going to have grief. The second thing I warned you is that the origins of this particular sex fetish that has now become like it's become like an online community known as scat, originated in places like South Korea and Japan. Okay, where people are literally playing with, eating, and having sex in shit. Okay? Now, granted, now you can find, ebony scat porn, you can find white scat porn, but I remember when scat porn was first introduced to me by a black guy I used to work with. And he claimed to be disgusted by it, but the mere fact that he knew about it and I didn't speaks volumes. Okay? This was all the way back in like 2007, 2008. Granted, just like Negro bed wenching and bed bucking, I'm sure it's been going on for centuries. But it first started to appear on the internet, and the first websites that were going up were showing Asian prostitutes doing this shit. Okay? Now it's become like a global pandemic in and of itself. And I remember warning y'all on several occasions, okay, that in a lot of them Asian countries, you got some very nasty, unsanitary motherfuckers. And when you kiss them in the mouth, when you do whatever you do, sexually or otherwise, you really literally don't know what you're kissing. Those words cannot, at this point in time, that we all don't know what the future holds, those words cannot be repeated and echoed a fucking enough. Not only do you not know if you kissing or putting your tongue in somebody's mouth that then ate shit, but now we don't know if you're kissing or putting your tongue in the mouth of somebody that's eating a raw diseased animal. I mean, look, this is what's crazy. I have never had anything against Asians or Asian Americans. I have never, been showed any aggression. A few of them got like attitudes, but with me here and there, but I've never really been shown any aggression from them like I have with black females, niggas, a couple of Hispanics here and there, even white folks. Okay. I actually had preferred that most of my customers at one point been Asian, because generally the ones over here don't give you a lot of trouble. They're polite, they're quiet, they keep to themselves. Okay? But I also recall telling y'all that these groups that remain homogenous even when they come into heavily diversified populations like the United States, they literally are so secretive. They're quiet because they keep to themselves. And I understood that while Asians mostly don't give me problems, I understood that that does not mean that they do not have problems, up to and including mental problems. Because you have literally got to be out your goddamn motherfucking mind to eat raw dog, bat, fish, or anything fucking else that has not been cooked or certified or processed through the proper applications and processes to make sure that it is safe for human consumption. Now, I think it's emerging, and they've been talking about this on the news, they've been talking about this on Congress. I didn't know nothing about this. I had heard stuff in the past about, Chinese eating dogs and cats and shit. I didn't know it. Listen, I had heard it, but I really didn't pay attention to it. I think the whole world is paying attention to this now. And the question is, while it would not be wise to try to do anything to China militarily, the question is, should everything continue to be made in China at this point? Okay? It's just like the United States with oil. Okay? For decades, the Middle East held us hostage. Now we're producing our own fucking oil. We're saying, fuck you. We even pulled our military bases out of Saudi Arabia. We don't need you anymore. Fuck you. Fend for yourself. The question is, should the world do that with China at this point? Okay? If they're not only going to allow this stupid shit to occur, and I'll explain to you what the pictures are on the left side of the collage in a minute. But if they're going to allow this stupid shit to happen, these open, it's one thing to have an open food market. Okay? That's one thing. Okay, I get it. Open food market, you have those all over the world. You have them here in the United States. Okay? But you're going to have an open market where people are killing animals out in the wild, not knowing what the fuck That animal could have fucking rabies. And then taking that dead beast and just laying it on a bare floor, which is also crawling with bacteria. I mean, look at this shit, bro. Look at this, dog. Look at this. They're not even putting the dead animals on like a clean sheet. They just laying dead animals that can be infested with anything on a fucking ground that they're stepping on with their shoes that have probably stepped in dog shit. It was only a matter of time for some shit like this kicked off. Are you fucking serious? And again, prior to this, I didn't even have no problem with Asians, dog. I didn't even have no problem with them. But are you out of your fucking mind? I mean, what? It was only a matter of time before something like this happened, man. I mean, it's a wonder that motherfucking Ebola virus didn't marry HIV and create some airborne fucking bubonic plague that wiped us all out by now. These motherfuckers doing this dumbass shit. You can't be serious, man. I'm pissed off. I am pissed the fuck off. Okay? This don't make no goddamn sense. And what I'm scratching my head trying to figure out. This is what I'm trying to figure out. The United States is always preaching about human rights violations, animal cruelty, this, that, and the third, always got their nose in the Middle East, in somebody's fucking business, trying to tell them how to live and run their country. Yet the United States freely trade. Check this out now. We were buying our oil and defending the royal crown of Saudi Arabia that knowingly oppresses women and human rights. Okay? And I'm not a feminist or an advocate for women. I'm just trying to expose the hypocrisy here. And we're knowingly trading with China, a country that is known to be not only communist, but have draconian laws, okay, that don't really benefit anybody. They just ensure the security of the government, the safety of the Chinese people, and the safety of those who they do trade with is a distant concern, non-existent concern, apparently. They don't give a fuck. Because this, quite frankly, is some nasty fucking shit. Dude, didn't your mama ever teach you when you was a little kid not to, if you drop something on the ground, don't pick it up and eat it? These people taking that shit and violating it to the 10th power, bro. You gon' not even a domesticated animal like a cow or a chicken, nigga. These people are killing animals in the wild, taking this animal, not knowing what disease it carries, not even skinning the damn thing to, remove the bacteria from its fur and hair, laying it bare on the fucking ground without cleaning or skinning it or gutting it. Bare on the ground that they're stepping on with their shoes that may have stepped in cow shit at some point. And now they're going to pick up this dead animal with the fur still on it. They're going to pick it up after they just stepped on the same ground where this dead animal is laying, where they shoe with cow shit all over it, and they're going to sell it to somebody to eat. Oh my God. And y'all wondering where this shit came from? So back to my, let me change gears for a second. So back to my original point and the title of this video. What I've come to realize is that this world is a smaller place than I thought it was. Literally, quite literally, one person or a group of people, they don't have to be Chinese, they can be somebody else, because we know black people do dumb shit all the time. I report on it all the time, okay? But one person or a group of people, or even a foreign government like China's, keeping a lid on this shit, and their stupidity, their bad decisions, If that decision, if that bad decision, if that stupidity is on a big enough scale, it can literally affect all of our lives. There are people dead in places right now in this world that don't speak Chinese, never been to China, ain't thinking about China. Because these motherfuckers want to take dead animals, put them on the bare ground where they stepping with their shoes that may have stepped in dog feces or something, and sell it to somebody to eat without skinning the damn thing, to remove possible harmful bacteria or disease even on the thing's fur, let alone what's inside of the fucking animal. It was said that there's several theories. Y'all know y'all have heard me talk on several occasions over the last few days about the 1918 pandemic of the Spanish flu 102 years ago, which would have been our great grandparents' era. For some of us, our great great grandparents. For some of us, our great 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 grandparents, depending on how many baby mamas, how many generations of baby mamas you got in your family. Subject for another video. But there are several theories as to how Spanish flu started. The main theory is that French or British soldiers, but it's believed to be French soldiers because the first outbreaks of some type of viral pneumonia were noted in a military hospital that was run by the French in late 1917. It wasn't recognized as a flu virus until January 1918 at a camp in Kansas in the United States. But the working theory is that there were hungry troops. It basically boiled down to there were hungry motherfuckers that were fighting this war. They were stressed out. The food supply lines had fell behind the battle line, and they were basically just on the battlefield grabbing anything they could to eat. Dead horses, dead pigs, dead dogs, anything that got caught in the crossfire of Germans, French, and British killing each other, getting blown up by mortars or shot to pieces, because again, battlefields, especially back then, took place in communities across farmland, and so it was just a matter of time before shit, even like cows, got caught in the crossfire of that shit. Okay. And they were just grabbing anything and eating it. And a lot of these animals were decomposing. Okay. And one or a group of soldiers got a hold of some bad meat, ate it, got sick, and developed, this pathogen mutated in them as the human host. They spread it to other troops. And then the troops spread it to other troops in military bases and hospitals and nurses. And next thing you know, it then went around the world and killed, 100 million people and sickened close to 1 billion, half the population at the time. And being a history buff and now doing more research into the Spanish flu, again, there are several theories about how this shit started. We think we know how the coronavirus started at a open wild animal market in China. Okay. The one thing I've learned over this past 2 weeks, doing my research on the Spanish flu of 1918 and the shit that we're currently going through that we don't know, a lot of us are so uncertain about the future at this point. Although I do have some plans to make sure that this shit never happens to me again. If my plans work right, y'all are going to be seeing different videos coming from me starting April 6th, but that's still on the way. The one thing I have learned, and I think we all have learned, is that this world is a lot smaller than we think. And it gets even smaller when people are stupid. Because while we may not realize it, it's all of our responsibility to make sure that this planet stays livable. Okay? That includes, watching the emissions from our cars to, reduce the increase of global warming. That means, being smart when having sex, using protection to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted diseases. Okay? That means washing our fucking hands when we touch stuff in public or we go around scratching our ass to prevent the spread of infectious disease. That means not dragging dead animals out of the wild with rabies and putting them on a floor that's been stepped on by 500,000 different fucking people who could have anything on the bottom of their nasty ass shoe. And then selling that dead animal with rabies on a shit infested floor to anybody to eat to prevent the spread of infectious disease. And now me being a hashtag Marlboro man, me understanding that unfortunately, because there are so many stupid people, not just black people, but there are so many stupid people in this world of different races, origins, tribes, nationalities, religious beliefs, I'm going to have to take drastic measures to protect myself against the world's stupidity. Because even if we survive this, even if somehow we bounce back from this in a couple of months and everything goes back to normal and it's just a whew moment, that was close. If it's just one of those moments, and it may be, because they're developing treatments and vaccines for this shit right now, I have to ask myself the logical question, and I think everybody should at this point. How long is it going to be before the next stupid motherfucker in this world causes the next panic and pandemic and global crisis? And the next pandemic, panic, and global crisis, will it be like the last, or will it be worse? Even worse than the Spanish flu or bubonic plague? And will we survive it? That's a question that I no longer want to have to answer or wonder about with uncertainty. And I suggest the rest of y'all start making your plans to do what's necessary to plan for the next dumb motherfucker that pulls some shit like this too. Because the next one, you may or may not survive. Over and out.